Welcome back. We are now jumping on to making the C-pillars a full box section. And that's kind of the whole safety reason why. I kind of figured out how I'm going to do it. It's going to be a double skin basically. One skin on top of another to make it flat. You know, it's more for safety than anything else because I could butt weld them together, but they're not going to be not nearly as strong. And see, it's one thing if it's just a body where it's just a looking thing. You know, a looks thing. I mean, it's another thing when you're rolling into the woods and you want this thing to hold. So you kind of want a lap joint, and that's what I'm going to do. So let me first start. I'm going to weld more of this to get it more flat to push the edges out as far as I can, and then start working from there backwards. All right, let's go. Well, let's go do the sides. Let's make this, inner and outer skin. Let's first clean this or pound this flat, make the inner and outer skin, and try and work out how it's going to look. See, I'm using this. This is just a piece of metal bent up. It goes up in some of these holes right here, these access holes. I just put it up inside. You can see it, and you can run right along with your hammer. And I'm trying not to move this because this is where the trunk deck lid is. So, see with this metal piece right here, it's flat. I'm trying to go right against this edge. Just takes a little bit of time. Just be slow. That's all I have to do. That's what I'm trying to do. Alright, here's the panel that we have. It's the old 5+5 roof panel. Plenty of distance. What we got here is we're going to start at 1 inch and we're going to go to about 3.5 inches. That'll give us a starting point where we are going to have like a triangle up there. Actually, I'll just do 3.5 inches the whole way down, then trim it up inside. So, other than that, we'll just cut one out and see what happens. None of this has to be exact. It just has to be rough, and then we're going to trim from there because I'm not really sure exactly how it's going to work, to be quite honest. First thing we have to do is figure out how long it's going to be. Well, I put it down as far as I can to where it won't go any further, which is, you know, pretty good. Then where I'm going to do it is right where it starts to curve. That's where I want to cut it. And good thing it gets rid of that rust. Now that that's done, next thing we have to figure out is what is our depth? How far do we want it to go in, you know, to make that lap joint? And I think a centimeter, 10 mil is more than enough. So let's mark out centimeter. Get pretty much everything in right there. This right here is the mark where I want to start my bend. So this is going to be flat. This is where it's going to start. Then we have to figure out how much material we need to take off. So right here, if I did this, it's pretty much to go flat. I want it to match up like that. How far do I want to go down? Ah, it looks like a good old imperial inch. Pretty much. because it's all going to be flat underneath here. So I'll just run 1 inch on the other side because it's really not bending at all. So let me cut this. And start bending it. See how I have a piece of square tube, I'll use it. That'll give me a nice crease on the bend at least. Well, as the camera was pointed in the opposite direction, this is what I did. Well, this bend right here is fine, but it needs to go up more. It needs to go down inside. So what it kind of looks like right here, if that's in to the point right there, if this is up, this actually looks pretty decent. This right here looks decent. As it starts to fail or fall away, this is where I want it to bend actually, right here. I don't want that. Mark a line out, and I want to go back over and run the bend like this, and then try and fish it out. We also have to take this centimeter off because it's way too big. You know, and it's way too big down here too. So going from here, just take off this centimeter right here, and then I'll rebend this a little different, tap that down and rebend it. See what you guys have for it, look forward to? Well, 3 attempts later, I kind of like what it looks like, right there. So there'll be an outer skin that welds onto that. So I'm going to probably just tack this in just for the heck of it. I am going to make a template for the other side because it's pretty much the same thing. That way I can slowly put it in. But other than that, I kind of like that because it's flat up here and then it curves down inside. We'll do that, then we'll make an outer skin. I like this where it bends over right here. This is nice. I gotta get it all up inside, but what I want to do is pick out where I think it's closest, where I want it to be, and this is where I'm going to tack it, and I'm going to go all the way down. There we go. Get the welder going. Alright, I want to lay a piece over it and weld it to it, because I'm going to weld this seam that's going to be in here. I'm going to weld it completely shut, and hopefully it'll go onto this bottom piece as a tab section. I'm leaving a little space inside there, and then when I bend it down, I'm going to bend it over with a hammer and just start grinding it down to fit the sides, because I'd never get it correct anyway, you know. So let me tack this bad Johnny in there and see how it works. Well, that's coming along. Well, so before I run out of argon, let's start doing the top part. Now, this is what we're using for the to connect the top part of the roof skin to the window frame. This is the window frame roof skin from the 5+5. One of the reasons why I wanted to use it was this. It's the arc or the bow of the roof. Hopefully I can put the coupe GT roof on that, weld it into it, and it will maintain the arc. And it will match up with the front. Don't really know if it does. Then I'm going to cut it right along this ridge, right in the valley, right there, because all the pinch welds are on this side. But this is an extension from the window frame up. I'm going to try and bend it out this way to give me a little bit of an angle. We'll see what happens. Hopefully I can do it. You know, just have to give it a shot. Let me just zip that out. Then I'll get the cutter and cut that, and we'll be good. As you can see, it kind of bows in a little bit on the 5+5, but what I'm trying to do is I'm going to make it straight along here, then make relief cuts and bend it back out. Hopefully it'll keep the same shape, but I need to figure out, or I need to have this thing inside here, cut relief cuts in it, there, I think right there. I'll cut 4 relief cuts, 2 either side, and try and bring it out this way a little bit. Well, I'm going to first tack this, then I'm going to tack this and pound it in, see what happens. What's the worst that happen? I have to cut it back out. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack it right here. That way I can bend this down and still keep this edge, is what I'm looking at. And trying to get this thing squared away just like that is, you know, this is where I want it. So I'm going to tack it here first, then manipulate it and keep going. Well, it's pretty much laced in right now, or stitched in. I gotta bend this down, but I have to make the plates for the side first, and let's get on to doing that. So this is going to be like the hardest portion right here, is on the corners, but we got to make these plates first. I already just stuck this one plate in there just to give me a shim to make it go to where I want it to go, but let me clean up some metal. We'll put that in and make the side plates. Now we're trying to get this roof plate mated to the sides. What I did was I made a couple plates. First one is going to slip right in here, because what I wanted to do is I want this, then I'm going to lay a cover plate on top, is what I'm doing. But I want it, give me the best shot possible to make it equal. Same thing over here. Made this to it's right here, right where it starts to bend down. And when this thing goes in, it's going to go right here to give me pretty much a lip. So let's first zip this one in, and we can get this all squared away. All right, we have to do this. Now this is, I can put a piece of metal in here. That's all well and good. I got to put a piece inside here too. But this is going to be the hard part to do. But this will be easy, and putting this will be easy. I'm probably going to run this straight over and overlap the joint, weld it, then file it down to make this make the lip right here. Let's go do the other one, and we'll get right back onto this. Well, that inner panel's in. Let me make one more, actually it's going to be two more for the top and over there, and we're going to be done. Wow. I think I'm done with this episode. It's not fully welded. This is half welded. This is just half welded. Let me stop. Let me let me shut the boiler down, say bye. Oh. Well, that was enjoyable. You look at this and you see all the welds and all that stuff, and it's only half done. I mean, you know, just the straight welding is not a problem. You know, that's easy. I'm probably down to 500 pounds on a brand new tank of argon doing this. So, which is, you're probably, you know, not very much left. I'm pretty happy with the way I now have a roof on. That's big. I have a double skin, which means I have, you know, a plate here, and a plate in between, and it's welded and fused together. So they're actually a very stiff structure. And you use less Bondo because I added that plate. I had the center console in there. I can have, you know, stereos and more light. And what does it do? It's a box within a box, because you have your A pillar, your B pillar, your roof line, you know, the frame and the sunroof. Those are all that's a box. And you put another box in situ in between it. What do you call it? That's a honeycomb. And what's honeycomb? Extremely rigid. So I'm so glad that I put that in. You know, I don't know why I wanted to do it, but I just saw it and I'm going to do it. You know, because it's just one of those safety things. It's sort of, you know, like the double skinning. It's safety. You know, and making the entire chassis very, very rigid. And I'm probably, next episode, I'm probably going to continue with the rigidity factor by continuing with the strut towers. I got to take off this back panel right here, you know, the fire panel, and for the gas tank, and I got to start tying all that stuff in with the stress tie bar and everything, and tie them all up into this panel right here. That way, it is one absolute complete unit, no problem. You know, it's done. That way, it's onto the fitting the rockers and front fenders, and then the suspension. You know, I think we just turned base leg. We're not on final yet. You know, we did a downwind, got a base leg. We're not on final for the approach, so we're close. We're close to turning final. You know, because once the shell is fully welded, and all the brackets are all done, everything's all done, you're turning on final, because all you do is you're painting it and you're putting it together. And I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty stoked. I mean, I just think it's pretty wild. I can't believe I've gotten this far, you know, but you guys can do it. You can do it, trust me. I'm nothing special. All I'm doing is, I'm a recycling hillbilly. I'm recycling old parts, and I'm a hillbilly out here in New Hampshire. You know, nothing special. You know, I'm not a genius who builds rocket fuel or whatever they do. You know, but you can do it. Just get your mind to it, and a welder, a grinder, and a lot of patience. Oh, and a lot of beer. Why do you think I think this shit up? I gotta drink a beer and look at it. All right, you certifiables. Thank you very much for showing up. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.